Yo, what's good everyone? Thank you for tuning in to today's video. Today we are taking a look at the recently released Air Jordan 7 in the Flint Colourway. But if you are new around here and this is the first time you see my videos, my name is Aidan and on this channel we do release brand new sneaker content just like this each and every week. So do make sure to smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. Also make sure the bell notification is switched on so you never miss a video. And with all that aside, if we now just go ahead and get into the intro. Before we go ahead and actually dive into the shoes, like we always do on my channel, let's just take a quick look at the shoe box. Now, as you can see, we have that pretty standard Air Jordan 7 box. We have the black across the top with the Air Jordan branding in the centre. Also, alongside that Air Jordan branding, we do have that red Jumpman. If we then take a quick look at the label, which reads Air Jordan 7 Retro in the white varsity purple colourway. Now, this is a personal pair as it is a UK size 9, which is my personal size. Now, this is also a pop top for anybody that's interested. So if we just take this off the top, inside we do have that pretty standard, black bag material. No other way to really describe it. But with all that aside, if you now just go ahead and jump straight into the shoes. And here we have it, guys. We finally have the Air Jordan 7 Flints in hand. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I'm actually going into this a little bit blind. I tried not to do as much research as I normally would with most of my reviews. I did do a little bit of research, I'll be completely honest. The reason for that is this is actually the very first pair of Jordan 7s I've ever owned. It's also the very first pair of Jordan 7s I've actually seen in person. So I really wanted to go into this with kind of like a fresh perspective. So if I do get things wrong or if I'm saying things that aren't technically correct, do make sure to correct me in the comment section below. But if we just go ahead and just dive straight into the shoe, starting out with the upper. Now, the upper is actually a combination of two different types of material. So on the underlay, we do actually have this really rich, dark grey nubuck style of material. Now, in terms of the overall quality, I was genuinely surprised by just how nice it actually feels. I'll be honest, I kind of have a very low opinion when it comes to Jordan brand and just general releases like this. Because quite often, they always come with, QC problems. The quality of the material is generally quite subpar.
It's true.
But genuinely, really like how this feels. It feels really supple, really rich in terms of the overall texture to it. It also does have that two-tone, so if you brush it one way, it goes a little bit darker. Brush it the other way back, it goes a little bit lighter. I'm not sure if that's technically the best way to actually understand if a suede or a nubuck is actually of a good quality. But whenever it does come to nubuck for me, I always use that as a pretty good way of understanding if it's decent or not so good. Something else that's worth mentioning about the nubuck, on both the lateral and medial sides, we do have these small perforations. I believe this is there for added airflow and ventilation into your feet. Definitely helps if you are planning on rocking this in the summer months. Adding that extra airflow into your feet just means that this shoe is a lot more wearable. Another thing that's worth mentioning is that the actual shoe itself is a lot lighter in general than I expected it to be. So that, once again, is another major win for this shoe. But as you can see on the rest of the upper, we do actually have this synthetic tumbled leather on the overlay. Now, even though this is a synthetic blend of leather, it's not as bad as you'd probably expect it to be. In my personal opinion, it feels really nice, looks really nice, and it actually does have that look of leather even though it's synthetic. So just from a material standpoint in terms of the upper, I've got absolutely no complaints. The craftsmanship was another thing that I was quite interested to take a look at. With this being my very first pair of 7s, I was kind of not sure what to expect. But generally, I haven't really come across any or many QC faults with it. Don't get me wrong, there's the odd bit of glue marks on the actual shoe itself. But this is a GR shoe. This is readily available even to this day. And I do expect that this is probably one of the highest stock numbers for any Jordan release this year. So with that in mind, the odd glue stain, you can pretty much just let it go. But if we then just continue to move down the shoe, as you can see, we have this primarily white midsole, and then switching to the outsole of the shoe, we do have a primarily grey rubber outsole with hits of white and purple with that circular traction pattern. I've got an air bubble. So if we then just move back into the centre of the shoe, as you can see, we have these flat white shoelaces. Now the laces themselves are actually a lot thinner than I personally expected them to be. They're still pretty decent in terms of the overall quality. And one thing that I did notice on quite a few pictures is people actually swapping out these white laces for purple. Don't think I'm going to do it. I think I'm just going to leave it as it is with the white laces. But I do think purple laces actually do work really well. But if we then just move up the laces to the top of the tongue, in the centre of the tongue we do have that really nice bold geometric print with the purple Air Jordan branding. I did actually almost forget to mention as well, on the side of the shoe, on the lateral side, we do actually have the purple Jumpman. Just like what we saw with the tongue, really nice hit of purple, adds a lot of contrast in my opinion, so really nice detail for me. If we then move inside the shoe, this is where things start to get a little bit interesting. Now it's not the normal standard, sock liner or ankle collar that you're used to. This actually doesn't offer any support on either side. There's no padding at all, and it does have that Huarache style of tongue, so it's kind of like a bootie. I'm not sure if the camera's actually going to be able to pick that up or not. One thing that I took away from that is the ankle opening is actually surprisingly wide. When it comes to Huaraches, I normally go about half size up, but on this shoe, the actual overall fit, perfect. Can't fault it one bit, and I didn't actually have any issues getting the sock on, to be honest, or the bootie, whatever it actually is. So no complaints there. The opening is a lot wider than I expected it to be, which is a plus. And in general, considering that, there's no support on the ankles, this is a really comfortable shoe. Probably one of the more comfortable Jordan Retros as well, which is really nice. And this is definitely a shoe that I can see myself wearing quite a lot. If we then move further inside the shoe, as you can see, we do have this primarily black insole with the white Jumpman branding. Now, for anyone who's wondering how this shoe actually fits in terms of sizing, I personally went true to size, hoping that this shoe would fit. Thankfully for me, going true to size was definitely a really good outcome. Incredibly comfortable when it's on feet like I've touched on. The sizing feels absolutely perfect, very similar to what I've got with the Jordan 6. So if you are looking to pick up the Air Jordan 7, I would highly recommend going true to size. If there's any opportunities for you to actually try the shoe before buying, I would always recommend that you do that, just so you can understand the best fit for you. If we then switch over to the heel of the shoe, as you can see once again, we have more of that geometric print with the purple 23. Also, as you can see, we do also have a pull tab as well. And other than that, I think we've just about covered everything that's worth mentioning. So now let's go ahead and wrap up the video. So just to wrap up this video and give you guys my overall opinion on the shoe itself, in terms of rating, I give this shoe a pretty respectable 8 out of 10. Definitely like the shoe a lot more than I thought I would. I was going into it with a fresh perspective like I've already touched on, and the shoe definitely didn't disappoint me. I'm not surprised that this shoe is still sitting at a lot of retailers right now. The Jordan 7 doesn't really release that often. It's not that popular. But I figured personally, if I'm ever going to get into Jordan 7s, I may as well start with a really clean and simple colorway. Really glad I've added this shoe to my personal collection. But I'd love to know your guys' personal opinions as well. What do you guys think of it? Is it a cop or is it a pass? Do make sure to leave me a comment in the comment section below. Also, if you stuck around to this point in the video, I want to say a massive thank you. Do make sure to smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, make sure the bell notification is switched on so you never miss a video. And I hope to see you all again in the next one.